Hey guys, I'm just getting started. I'm not actually going to talk about this for a few minutes, but I'm just going to get everything set up. So bear with me on my end. As I get things set up. All right, this is going to be exciting. I'll go post this everywhere on Discord in 2 minutes because I'm not allowed to show cards for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'll just wait for everybody to jump in. Okay, I think I'm good to share it now. Okay, I'm going to go to Discord and share this everywhere. Hello, Avocado. How are you doing? How are you doing? I think this is going to be pretty big. This is going to be a pretty big widening of our understanding of backups here. Let me go share this everywhere and then we'll jump in. We'll talk about these cards and then talk about all of my thoughts that I'm having about backups now because this is definitely shifting how I feel about them. Let's see. Jumping in, just bear with me while I just post this everywhere so everyone can jump on in. Okay, that should be good enough. We got 8 of us in here. Universus has just released an article about transforming cards and shifting cards. I'm going to bypass the article and just show you guys the new cards. Any questions about the new cards, any thoughts, put them in the chat. I'm going to be constantly reading chat throughout this stream and try to be really engaged here. Have this be more of a discourse rather than just me talking like a normal video. So we got Joe saying, all right, let's see what mental load we are dealing with now. Yeah, exactly. We were all worried Attack on Titan was going to simplify our game too much, but now we have even more. It feels like every day I'm making a video about some all new Universus mechanic. JK, maybe I'm just skeptical, but I'm not sold on Planeswalkers. Okay, let's try and sell you on Planeswalkers. I'm going to jump in. Let's just talk about the attacks and go from there. Again, as you have opinions about these cards, whether they're good or not, let me know in the comments. We'll just talk through it. So we have shifting attacks. Attacks that basically during the end phase get to shift into backups. Let's start off here with a Titan large. We saw a Titan small and a Titan medium. Those were backups that you were able to build. But here it's an attack, and it says a Titan large attacks, and then it builds into just a Titan large. 6 difficulty, 4 check, 5/5, powerful 3, shift. And then shift is down here. As this card clears during your end phase, you may build it transformed opposite side up. So even if it didn't deal damage, you can still build this into a backup. If it did deal damage, now you have an interesting dilemma. Are you going to put this in your momentum or are you going to build this into a backup? You'll notice that a Titan large does not have a difficulty number, does not have a block mod, and does not have a check value. Basically, these are almost always the attack in your deck, and then when you build it, you'll take it out of your card sleeve, you'll turn it upside down, put it back into your card sleeve, and put it into your stage. And then at the end of the game, don't forget to take all these and turn them back up into their attack form. So that's a discussion, though, at the end of the video. I'll talk about the cards here, and then all of the implications of shifting attacks here at the end. JK, so they transform. Yes, these are going to transform from an attack into a backup. And then a Titan large backup has 5 stamina. Form commit, lose one stamina, draw one card, then discard one card. So this reminds me of uh, Claw Stopper, right? Claw Stopper in face up momentum gets to draw a card, discard a card. And that's what these backups are now reminding me of. In my earlier video, I said this feels like an asset that you can attack. But now I'm starting to think of a backup as like an alternative to face up momentum. Basically, you build this into your stage, and now it's doing the thing that would be happening in your face up momentum, but it's no longer momentum, and your rival can attack it. So it's a whole kind of different thing here. So a 6 difficulty 4 check 5/5 powerful 3, that's really interesting. You know, it's statted like it's a 5 difficulty 3 check. But here we have it as a 6 difficulty 4 check, and I think I would rather run a 6/4 than a 5/3. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I would. Darian says, darn, now we have more end of game mental load too. Joe says he's down for now. We got King Goomba or Ozzy, my local. So if the Titan gets KO'd, do you have to flip it before it goes to the discard? Yes. Anytime it goes back into your discard or your state or your hand, it should always be on the attack side. It's only on the backup side when it's in your stage as a backup. So this is going to have some create some new dilemmas of you have to pull the card out of your sleeve, flip it over, and put it back into your sleeve. You know, I can already foresee some people forgetting to do that in a major tournament and maybe getting hit with judge damage. It's going to be interesting how all of this plays out. Or I hope like one sleeve doesn't look more worn and torn than other sleeves because that's the backup sleeve. But that's all things for another day. I think it's a really, really cool mechanic and a really cool way that they're kind of changing face-up momentum. At least that's my opinion. Like the ones that you built reminded me of assets you can attack. This reminds me of like an alternative to face-up momentum. Okay, we got 24 watching right now, and I'm going to try and keep up with chat throughout this. TC says, am I correct in thinking that there are literally no downsides to running shift attacks in the deck? It just adds bonuses to attacks. Yes, in general, although what we're going to see with these shift attacks is that they're not as overpowered. They're not as powered up as normal attacks. They seem to be a little powered down because they're aware that no matter what, even if these attacks don't land, they can change into a backup. So even if you just throw this out as a poke, it does nothing, it's blocked, you're still getting to change it into a backup as soon as it clears the card pool. That's all it says. As this card clears during your end phase, you may build it transformed opposite side up. Okay, this is like the weakest of the transforming cards here, though. Let's go to our next shift attack. 8 difficulty Shishi Wakamaru. You can still play this attack. Armored Titan attacks. 8 mid, 8, 4 mid block. Checks a 4. All of these check a 4. I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. All the shift attacks I'm showing off today check 4s. Blitz. Your rival flips 1 foundation. Response: after you block this card, build it transformed. So that's what I mean by these cards are a little underpowered compared to normal attacks because we just have an 8 mid 8. It does check a 4. But if you block with it, despite it being a 4 block mod, you can then build it down transformed, and it leaves your card pool effectively -1 speed to future rival attacks. So I'm down with that. And then the backup side of Armored Titan says, lose 2 stamina. This attack gets -2 damage. Lose 4 stamina, ruin 1. Again, these backups don't have like crazy abilities on most of them. They seem to be like taking the place of face-up momentum abilities is my new way of thinking about the backups. Because I'd be down for an attack that changes into commit for +2 damage in your stage. Yeah, I'm down with that. Lose 4 stamina, ruin 1. That's going to be pretty interesting if you can combine this with a lot of other ruin cards. If you had like 2 Armored Titan backups in your stage, that can become ruin 2. So that might not seem like a big deal, but I imagine that it could stack up pretty quickly. We have Ozzy saying, dang, this one is pretty good. Yeah, they're only going to get better from here. JK says you have to block with a +4 mid to build it. Gross. Yeah, but Faith Shield was a +3 mid and still sees a lot of play. Joe says, I wonder if these Titans won't get character cards because they are backups. We'll have to see, but this is a really interesting way, I think, to get Titans into the game. I would be surprised if Armored Titan doesn't get a character card, or at least maybe they'll do character cards for like the people versions that can shift into the Armored Titans. And then, yeah, we'll see. I'd be shocked if Armored Titan wasn't a character. I'll just say that. Jacob said Byakko likes another attack with a forecheck. Yeah, all of these are going to have forechecks. So forechecks are just here to stay, and they are reality. Let's get into the next one. Attack Titan attacks. Shift 8 diff, 5 high 8, 2 high block. Deadlock Blitz Ruin 1. So if they're not in deadlock, this is just a blank 8 diff, 5 high 8. But the backup side of this attack is super powerful. Check this out. 8 stamina, the attack titan. Form commit, lose 4 stamina. As your next form, try to play this card's attack side. It gets -3 difficulty. So you can replay attack titan attacks, except this time as a 5 difficulty attack instead of an 8 difficulty attack. That's really interesting. Enhance commit, lose 1 stamina. This attack gets +2 damage. So you can use that, and then later on, you could use the form. Which is commit, lose 4 stamina as your next form. You can even play that as your first form if you wanted to. Before you even played any other attacks, you could jump straight into that. The Master George, JK, Faith Shield was also an answer to throws, which are typically lower speed. Most things we've seen so far have been 4 speed or higher. Yeah, you're probably playing the Armor Titan most of the time as an attack. Faith Shield stops the transformation too, right? Oh, that's interesting. That's coming from my brother Patrick in the chat. Faith Shield says that you flip it. Yeah, Faith Shield is going to stop the transformation because it has to clear the card pool, and then by that time, it'll be recognized as a face down instead of an attack. So yeah, stocks up for Faith Shield. Joe, Armor Titan is my hope to hook me into this set, but the shift stuff is pretty cool. I'm down with it so far. Glad these are all infinity symbol. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. All of these attacks I'm showing have the infinity symbol. That's very similar to the backups we saw just a couple days ago that also had the infinity symbol. Yeah, I really like this one too. Our attack Titan attacks. I could see this one finding play compared to the others. Christopher says, so if you flip it, doesn't it flip into a backup immediately? No, I imagine it would flip to a face down. Where I think transform is a different mechanic than flip. Transform, you're going to have to take it out of your card sleeve because you have to be playing with opaque card sleeves at a tournament, and then flip it over. Whereas flip, it would just flip to be a face down. That's how I am interpreting it, although don't take me for the rules guy. TC, more power is also going up in stock. Yeah, I can see that. Next up, 10 difficulty attack here. The Colossal Titan attacks. 6 mid 10. It's a throw, guys. We have a 10 damage throw. Blitz, add the 2 top cards of your deck to your momentum. 10 damage throw, immediate to momentum. This is going to see a lot of play. And it changes into this backup. This is really interesting here. We got 3 abilities on this backup, 10 stamina. Form commit, lose 6 stamina. Your rival discards 2 cards and flips 2 foundations. You can play that as your first form on the turn. Oh, you only have 2 cards in hand? I'll form Colossus Titan, get rid of both of the cards in your hand, and flip 2 foundations, which is going to help Ruin be an even more powerful mechanic. Enhance commit, lose 1 stamina. This attack gets 2 damage. Response, after this card leaves your stage, draw 1 card. So even when this is destroyed, you're going to get to draw 1 card. This right here, these are just getting better and better as I'm going through them, but we got a 10 damage throw, snap to momentum, plus a backup that basically says goodbye to 2 of your cards in your hand. As soon as your opponent builds the Colossal Titan backup, you are immediately going to have to game plan around that reality going forward as the rival. Joe says, I give UVS a hard time about half the symbols being left out, but all the infinity stuff does ease that quite a bit. Yeah, it seems like they were very intentional with giving us like 20 plus infinity symbol cards. Let's go gaming. I feel bad for those who play with the smoke in their sleeves. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of sleeves discussion with transforming mechanics coming into the game. It states that in the article that shifting is not flipping; they are separate. Yeah, that's my imagination. I'll be honest here. I have not read the article. I was sent these cards by the marketing team yesterday, I believe, yesterday night, and we didn't get a preview of the article. So I haven't read the article yet. Maybe I'll do that live after these cards. In all fairness, if you're reliably throwing 10 difficulty attacks, the game is probably already over. This seems incredibly win more without a way to cheat it out. Yeah, Shishi Wakamaru, this is a 10 difficulty attack, so he's not going to be able to cheat this one Uh, he's going to be able to cheat those other two that we saw, like Attack Titan and Armor Titan, but not Colossus Titan. So, but again, if you're playing like an all four checks deck, which I don't know if that's going to be possible, but maybe it is, then even if you check a four, you're only committing six. It could still be worth it just to snap two momentum. A lot of times, snap two momentum, that can be a game winner. Some of these backups being powerful, Colossus Titan means that your opponent will 100% have to target them before they can be used. Yeah, if my opponent plays Colossal Titan attacks and then builds Colossal Titan, I either have to hold a ton of cards in hand before I pass, or I need to kill that thing before it makes me discard two cards. This is definitely one of the first backups where I think, okay, I've got to attack that thing before that ability can go off of. This isn't just some simple face-up momentum type ability on this one. Let's go to the next one. Female Titan attacks. 7 difficulty, 7 high 7, blitz, draw 1 card, ready 1 backup, 1 high block. I like all of this so far. Female Titan, lose 4 stamina, form, mill 2, choose a punch or kick attack in your discard pile and add it to your hand. And you can form, so if there's a punch or kick that's just a great lead-off attack, use this as your first form, go and grab it, and then slam it down. Like I'm thinking of that one kick attack that says all of your kicks for the rest of the turn get +2 speed. Well, now you can just make sure that you go and grab that as your first attack. Enhance, lose 1 stamina. This attack is +2 speed. We're seeing this pretty common now. Some very, very basic stamina ability combined with the real massive stamina ability. Like if you want the female Titan to be using this form to go and grab a punch or kick attack from your discard pile. Maybe that means punches are coming back in Attack on Titan in a big way. We've already seen, I think, a lot of ranged and weapon attacks. We haven't seen a lot of punched or kicks so far. So that's nice to know that those archetypes are going to get some serious support. This is the female Titan. Let's jump into Jaw Titan. 6 difficulty, 606 checks a 4. I really like these 6 difficulty 4 check attacks, and it has a 1 low block. Blitz, gain 2 health, turns into the Jaw Titan here. Enhance, lose 2 stamina. This attack gets +2 speed. Response, tenacious, so you can use this even after you use the enhance. Lose 3 stamina. After your rival plays an ability that increases their health, cancel it. They cannot gain health this turn. You cancel the ability that gained them health. They cannot gain health this turn. This can just stop some characters like Recovery Girl from just just coming all the way back up, or overhaul all of these life gain characters. No longer with the Jaw Titan. They cannot gain health this turn. We've already seen one very, very powerful attack in Attack on Titan. I think it was an uncommon, like 4 high 3, that said you gain health equal to the damage this deals. So if you added like 6 damage to that, you could gain 9 health. Well, the Jaw Titan could put a stop to that right away. So we've already got some anti-life gain. That's something that I like to see. Kamui Woods is going to be OP. Explain that one to me, George, because I'm not a Kamui 2 player. And so on the spot, I can't think through the synergies here. I'm gonna need to be walked through on that one. Jacob says, bye Ultra Regen. Yeah, exactly. Gain 2, draw 2. No, not anymore. Not with the Jaw Titan. And you can't gain health the rest of the turn. Yeah, so this 6 difficulty 4 check. This is basically like a 6-4 to me is probably synonymous with a 5-3. And a 5-3, 606, 1 low block that transforms. That seems pretty darn good. Free shift cards. Oh, Kamui Woods 2 gets to just put in an attack. It doesn't count towards progressive difficulty, and then it builds in as a backup. Okay. All right. Now I'm following the train of thoughts here. That is pretty cool. Ozzy says, sucks that if you use the enhance and response from Jaw Titan, your opponent doesn't really need to mess with it anymore, since the player will not be able to pay the cost. Yeah, all of these backups have that common theme of we can't just keep on doing these abilities for forever, especially the big ability. Typically, the big ability is use it and lose it. You're going to have to lose your stamina and start to kill it in some way. Let's see. Do we have one more? We have one more. This one might be the coolest one, guys. Smiling Titan attacks, 7 difficulty, 4 check. It's a rare, 6 high 6. Blitz, your rival spends 1 momentum. Okay, so it's like instant shining flash. You play it, they spend a momentum. 6 stamina, form, commit, lose 1 stamina. Your rival's first attack next turn must attack this backup if able. Okay, this is also interesting timing wise, because if you play the Smiling Titan attacks and then you build it down, you can no longer use that form until your next turn. And then it applies to your rival's next turn. So your rival does get an attack turn in between this that they won't have to attack the Smiling Titan, right? Smiling Titan, the first time it can apply is the turn after your rival's upcoming turn. So your rival's first attack next turn must attack this backup if able. So Smiling Titan says, hey, you have to come at me and not my owner's health total, at least only for the first attack. So your rival does get some interaction here. They could selectively choose which one they play first. Maybe that'll be different now that they know that you used the Smiling Titan form. But here we have Smiling Titan coming to the rescue and actually soaking up some damage for you. Being like this damage sponge type thing, which is kind of where I was thinking backups were going at the beginning when they first unveiled them, that we have something that they can attack instead of you. Smiling Titan just kind of makes that a reality. Okay, Sketch says, all seems kind of weak to me, very high cost unless cheating them in. Yeah, well, there's no cheating these ones in. You have to play the attack to get these ones. And that's going to bring me to a point that I want to talk about here in just a little bit. Master George, Smiling Titan, that's kind of nifty, but I don't know how he Kamui 2 kills anyone. Yeah, that's true. But I think Kamui 2 should have had the alternate win condition. If I get to 50 health, I auto win the game. Yeah, and that is going to do it for these. We've got all of these shift attacks here. We still have spots in between these. Like if we notice, this one is numbers 283. This one is 284, 285, 286, 288. So we have not seen 287. 290, haven't seen 289, 291, and then that's it. So there's at least a couple potential backups or shift attacks that we have not seen yet. But I did want to talk to Sketch's point here for just a little bit. All seems kind of weak to me, very high cost unless cheating them in. These ones, the shift attack backups, seem to me to be taking the place of face-up momentum. So when they showed off these yesterday, my thought was, and my thought at the Influencer Summit was, okay, backups are basically assets that can be attacked. And some attacks can shift into backups too. But they're basically assets that can be attacked, and that's their power level. But I didn't see these at the Influencer Summit, and the power level of these is so low. These are nowhere close to assets power level, and the difficulty is too high. And so I think if we think about backups as being like an alternative to face up momentum abilities, that makes a lot more sense. And so I think these two, in my opinion, were maybe a design misstep, because design was probably thinking, okay, we have these 10, 7, 6 difficulty attacks here that can turn into a backup. What should a backup be that you can just build? Well, we'll just make it less than an attack and we'll just make it 4 difficulty. But being an attack first is a huge benefit, and I think probably got underestimated in design maybe, because I am still of the opinion that these should have been 1 difficulty. In fact, comparing these backups to these backups is almost impossible to do in my mind, because these backups, the main purpose seems to be to replace face-up momentum. The main purpose of these backups seems to be an asset that your rival can attack. So I don't think they're doing enough there. Maybe they had a hard time bringing these two in line with each other, because there's probably a lot of characters that care about backups. And so they probably were worried that if they made the backups that you can build 0 and 1 difficulty, that those backup based characters would be too powerful. So, and I don't know, like I was probably just thinking about these wrong. Which is a bummer, because I kind of liked the idea of something stronger than an asset that you can attack and increasing the interaction that way. But thinking about them as like face-up momentum alternatives makes a lot more sense. And then if you consider that there's a lot of backup-based characters, then maybe it would be maybe it was leading to bad gameplay experiences to have low difficulty buildable backups. or maybe it was just a design misstep, or maybe I'm talking wrong here and I just haven't seen a lot of the set. And so I don't know what to expect. In fairness, we did not see a lot of backups in Vegas, at least at the Influencer Summit, from my recollection. I remembered seeing the Smiling Titan, and that was the only backup that I could thoroughly remember post Vegas was the Smiling Titan. I couldn't remember the others. I had seen some, but I didn't have a solid grasp for where the design of backups was. So I was kind of basing a lot of my opinions based on the Smiling Titan. Um, and now that I see it, I'm wondering too if we're going to get backups that aren't infinity symbol, or are all backups going to be infinity symbol based? Have we seen them all? Is my other question. Are these are these the only two buildable backups? Um, or are there going to be more buildable backups? Are these the only shift attacks, or are there going to be more throughout the set? We really don't know. They all have this unique like purple coloring on the background. Oh, I guess that's the infinity symbol. We also saw that with the infinity symbol asset, that it gets the purple background. Okay, I'm going to read some comments here and answer some questions. Most likely, I'd wager there's probably a way to add stamina back to them. Yeah, I bet so. I remember in Vegas seeing a I think well, I probably shouldn't say anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if a character or maybe multiple characters like backups. TC says, I'm predicting that the majority of backups that you need to build probably won't get played since they can't commit to past checks. Yeah, that's kind of my problem is I think these are super, super weak unless you're just desperate to amass this huge stage of backups. But if you're amassing this huge stage of backups, you're doing it at the expense of foundations, and I don't see how you can do that. You're probably trying to do two things at once, and then your opponent, who's just doing a few things, is going to take you down there. So I think these two were missteps. They should have been 0 difficulty or 1 difficulty. But I really like the idea of these shift attacks turning into backups. So I really like these backups. This one makes me much more excited, almost to the point to where I kind of just wished we had shift attacks and we didn't even have the backups that could build. But what do I know? I haven't seen a lot of the set yet, so all my questions could get answered. I'm just speaking out of what we've seen so far. Sketch says, that's my guess. I assume they are attached to character kits and will be mid outside, which is fine if the character is good enough. Yeah, the backups are probably so intertwined with a couple different characters or a couple different attack archetypes that they couldn't make those buildable ones more powerful. I'm excited for the Attack on Titan block with it. And build, Jacob said, these are crazy. Smiling Titan and Colossal builds on block, then you form them. And next turn, use it as a 5 diff. Yeah, again, let's just run through here. A Titan Large is this 6/4/5/5 powerful 3 that turns into Claw Stopper, basically. Draw 1 card, discard 1 card. Armored. So we just saw a character, by the way, today that loves discarding a card, Krista. So maybe Krista would like a large Titan attacks. A Armor Titan attacks. 8 difficulty. You can block with it to build it. And then you get this lose 4 stamina, ruin 1. So the Armor Titan can basically punch through things. That makes sense. Attack Titan attacks basically is just an attack that can replay itself, right? You attack with it, it turns into the Attack Titan, and then you can lose some stamina and play with it again. That's also very thematic with the Attack Titan, that he just keeps repeatedly coming at you, except this time he gets to play it on a 5 diff. Colossal Titan is this, and this basically sets up a loop, guys, because this shift isn't like you can only use it once. So as soon as you play the Attack Titan, you basically get to say, hey, I'm going to have the Attack Titan all the time unless you kill it when it's a backup, right? I'll Attack Titan, I'll form it, and then I'll play it again, Attack Titan attacks. I'll build it transformed, I'll play it again, Attack Titan attacks, until you kill the backup. While it's a backup, you're just going to have this 5 high 8 5 diff coming at you every turn. That's very neat, thematic wise, for the Attack Titan. Colossal Titan, snap momentum, 10 diff, throw, that then builds into this discard 2 cards and flips 2 foundations. Just absolutely destroys your resources, similar to how he destroyed the wall at the beginning of Attack on Titan. So this is definitely going to be a backup that you want to attack. And it's going to be a difficult one to kill, right? 10 stamina. If your rival just keeps this in their stage at 10 stamina, you're going to have to use a lot of resources. It's not just like play a 4 damage attack and you get to take down the Colossal Titan. or the Colossus Titan. This is going to take some work to kill in the stage. Otherwise, you're going to have to discard 2 cards. So you might just hold a lot of cards, build a couple, say pass. Female Titan, 7/7/7, draw 1, ready 1 backup. Lose 4 stamina, mill 2, and then get a punch or kick into your hand. Yeah, female Titan makes sense to be liking the punch and kick type archetype or keyword archetypes. And then the Jaw Titan gets this: you cannot gain health for the rest of the turn, cancel an ability that gains health. And it's a pretty cheap attack, 6 diff, 4 check, 6 low 6. And then the Smiling Titan is this one that we can build, and it basically becomes a damage sponge, but it's one that our rival can play around, that they don't have to, they can just switch the order of their attacks, knowing that their first attack has to attack the Smiling Titan instead of you. So that's a recap of all of the shift attacks that we've seen. Right away, if I had to rank them, let me know in the chat which you think are the best. If I had to rank them, let's say, I think I would say, well, Colossal Titan is hard because I have to, it is 10 difficulty, and that's very, very real. But I still think I'm going to say Colossus Titan is going to be the best one, because it's hard to underestimate 10 damage, throw, snap, 2 momentum. Like, this is the one where it's like, holy cow, even as just an attack, that's crazy. It's not just the backup that's crazy. This attack itself is nuts. So I think I put that one as number 1. I think Smiling Titan, I think, is going to be the one people are most excited for, but it's probably a little overrated. Let's see. Then I think I would go Female Titan, getting to snap a punch or kick attack of your choice from your discard pile to your hand. Seems like a good ability. I'd probably put that as number 2. Attack Titan is number 3, setting up this Attack Titan attacks loop every single turn of being able to play. A 5 high 8. Let's see. Then I think I'd go Jaw Titan, then Smiling Titan, then Armored Titan. Although if you have multiple Armored Titan backups out and you're just ruining your rival's stage, that's going to feel pretty gross. And then I think this one's probably the least of these that we got to show off. I think that would be my snap grades over here. It's hard for me to even give these A's, B's, or C's because I have no idea how good shift attacks are going to be. Because you do have to decide to give up getting momentum. Like if they deal damage, like this throw, for example, Colossus Titan, if it deals damage, you don't get to put this in your momentum. You're going to build this. I guess you could, but you're doing it at the expense of building it as the Colossus Titan. And I don't see a good reason why not to build it as the Colossus Titan, because that's a nuts form. And it's just a really good response. So I think that's my snap rating. My snap rating over here, I think I can competitively say that these are going to be pretty bad. Unless a character just loves them and you have to find a way to build them. Because here's the issue with these backups. You have to have a really solid stage before you can be affording to play 6 difficulty, 7 difficulty, 8 difficulty attacks. So if you're a character that wants to ramp backups, you're going to probably need to play some of these no matter how bad they are, just to get those in your stage before you can afford to throw out your 8 difficulty Armored Titan. Ace Gamer says, I'm very excited for Armored Titan and Attack Titan. I like these because it makes your rival have to really think about their attack lines. Yeah, I think there's more interaction here. We were worried Attack on Titan Spotlight was going to be like simplify the game too much. And I do think that this is pretty simple for a new player coming into only Spotlight. But there's a ton going on here. We are not losing, in my opinion, what makes Universus Universus. The attacks, getting to enhance back and forth, all of this interaction between you and your rival. We are seeing a lot of form abilities come in, but I'm excited. I have no idea all the different ways this is going to go in terms of deck building. I think it's going to be really fun to try and solve Attack on Titan Spotlight. It's like Attack on Titan Spotlight is going to be a beast like we haven't seen before. So I imagine that there will be a lot of initial takes that looking back on it seem stupid. For example, what if you come back here in 3 months and you say, I cannot believe David was saying those 4 difficulty backups were trash because now they're dominating the meta. Because none of us have any idea how this is going to end up all kind of coming together. So it's this new, fresh look at the game that I'm excited to participate in. I saw today that local qualifiers are being encouraged to be Attack on Titan Spotlight, local championships to be standard, although stores can change those if they like. I'm really excited for Attack on Titan local qualifiers. Personally, this just seems a lot of fun to crack this code and see what the optimal deck lines are and how much backups are really going to play into all of this. Godzilla may love these. The amount of replay these attacks or drawn attack cards that are in this set is going to make me bring out my Death Younger Toguro list again. There is so much of that. Yeah, there's that one attack that says you can play it from the discard pile. Now we're getting Attack Titan attacks to set up this constant loop. We're getting Female Titan to go and grab your best punch or kick. I think, and this might be coming from Magic too. I think Sam was telling me this the other day, that Magic has a lot of ways to grab things from your graveyard or from your deck. Like Pokemon does a lot of go and grab this thing from your deck. Whereas we in Universes go through our decks so quickly that our discard piles are typically much higher than our deck. And so getting to grab things from our discard piles is kind of how you do that in Universes. And maybe we see that mechanic kind of go up in this set. We're definitely seeing a little bit of it. All the named ones are unique, but we can still use it up and play another afterwards. Oh, okay. That was something that I did not notice. But yeah, all of these shift attacks are unique. Okay, see, I was thinking you could stack Armored Titans and then just ruin 3, and then on the next turn, ruin 3 again. Turns out you cannot do that. They are unique. I guess they realized that stacking Armored Titans and ruining multiple cards at a time with them might be an issue. So, okay, I misspoke there. I did not notice they were unique. Let's talk about the ultra rares though. I really like how, because this is the first ultra rares of the set that we've seen. All the commons and uncommons and rares were just kind of like right out of the manga. But here we're seeing more full pages from the manga. And then the art, and I really like this, extends throughout the border. So here the border is still silvery, but now like the Female Titan, we're still seeing part of her hand and feet in here. Like it changes the color of the border, but the art is going throughout the entire card. So I'm a big fan of that personally. It's like that on all of these. Also, if you didn't notice on the art, the backup side, the transformed side, are inverse, including the symbols are inverse. So check out this infinity symbol. The little sideways 8 here is white. Here the sideways 8 takes on the rainbow color, and the background is black. And here the background is the rainbow color. So everything about these cards is the inverse. It's the inverse of the set symbol, inverse of the infinity symbol. And instead of having this lighter border, we're getting hit with this darker border. And I think this is going to be a consistent trait throughout the entire Attack on Titan set of how inverse cards work. Inverse cards will have reverse symbols and reverse borders. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. A lot of the symbols actually look very, very neat when they're inversed. Maybe even better than they look when they're normal. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Anything else that we're noticing about these cards that I missed before I sign off on here? Or I'll read some of what you guys are saying. The amount of... Oh, I see. That was TC still. Well, I think I've pretty much gone through everything that I have for today. Let's go through and read this article. Transform and shift, because we haven't talked about transform yet. So on Monday, we introduced a new exciting card type. Now we're introducing 2 new mechanics. Double-sided cards. For the first time in its history, Universes is going to be delving into the world of double-sided cards. This exciting step allows us to showcase entirely new design concepts that better represent the worlds we visit. We'll be using double-sided cards in several different ways, often to reflect the dual nature of a character or a progression from one state of being used to another. For example, a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type character could allow us to show a mild-mannered professional type on front side, while the others would be a monstrous villain. Yeah, that's very, very neat. Introducing Transform. Double-sided cards have abilities that allow them to transform. Cards that can transform have a default state of the front side being the face of the card for rules and gameplay purposes. If a double-sided card changes its zone of play, changes facing, or changes publicity, it returns to its front side unless specified otherwise. Yeah, this is one of my worries about double-sided cards, is that people are going to forget to change their card back to the front side facing part of the card. and maybe get game losses on that in between, similar to like someone who just forgets to sideboard out between rounds. The conditions that caused a card to transform are laid out on each double-sided card. Many cards with the ability to transform will have a new keyword ability that impacts how they're played, which brings us to this exciting new mechanic, Shift. So Shift is how these attacks are going to build into backups, and it's a May ability, so you don't have to do it. If you opt not to transform your card, you may add your shifted cat to your momentum instead. You'll see Shift on a brand new cycle of cards, attacks that transform into backups. These exciting cards allow players to play both their attacks and backups in a single card. On Friday, we'll reveal another exciting use of double-sided card, transforming characters. Okay, that is what I'm most excited about. So shift attacks are cool, but the transforming characters that we saw are really, really neat. How they put that to use and the different ways these characters transform. Really looking forward to that and what they have for us, and kind of this continued inversion of the symbols and of how the card looks on the opposite side. So I'm worried about I'm excited for this mechanic. I think is really cool. This is probably how Fat Gum 1 and Fat Gum 2 should have been, just as a transformer instead of like this very, very complicated search all the game zones we possibly can for Fat Gum 2. It would have been much, much more simple to just have a transforming character. So mechanic wise, I see what they're saying about bringing in characters like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and being able to have them change from face to face. You kind of need that to bring Attack on Titan to life, right? With Eren becoming the Attack Titan and then back to Eren. So you kind of needed this mechanic to bring the world of Attack on Titan to life. It'd be very difficult to do without it. But I am worried about how it's going to look in practice. Pulling the card out of the sleeve, flipping it over, and putting it back. Like, for example, what if in a top cut match, and maybe this is just me being overly worried. I can kind of worry about things too much sometimes. What if somebody pulls out a shift attack, turns it over into a backup, puts it back into the sleeve, on his way back into the sleeve, it like tears the sleeve or something, and they don't have extra sleeves. That could be a disaster. Somebody forgets to turn over the cards back up. Cards that use these shifts maybe are more worn and torn. So those are all my worries into how this is actually going to be practically done. But as a mechanic, I think it's a really cool mechanic. I just wish you could just snap your fingers and it automatically flipped over. It is what it is. You still have to have your opaque sleeves, obviously. Otherwise, you're going to be able to tell what the cards are. Hello, Barry. Lewis says they need to include legal proxy cards for double-sided cards like they do in Magic booster packs. Okay, that's interesting. So you could just have on the side, instead of having to pull them out of the card and put them back in opposite side, you could just have duplicates to the side that you swap in and out. That'd be pretty neat. I didn't think about that. Have we already talked about what we will do about sleeving? Yeah, that's what I am. Sorry, I'm reading the past here. The Jaw Titan transform art is awesome. You don't put the shift in the main. You leave them off to the side and have a legal proxy in the main. I think that's pretty neat. That's a pretty neat idea. I didn't play a lot of card games in the past, so I played a very limited amount of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up. And then I ditched card games. Didn't Universes. I came back to card games 2 years ago, started out with a little bit of Magic. I enjoyed doing some Friday night Magic at a local game store and doing some draft pods. But it wasn't really scratching the itch too much for me. And then my brother and I happened upon Universes with some My Hero Academia box and absolutely fell in love with it and got kind of obsessed. So I don't have a lot of card game experience. I don't play any other card games than Universes. I just don't have time because I got to make content for Universes. I want to watch Universes. I want to deck build. I want to play. I want to play every single character there is. I just, if I have any opening in my life of time, I try and just cram some more Universes in there. Fuzzy says, in Magic, we had werewolves that were double-sided, and I put them in smaller sleeves that were clear. So when I played them, I just unsleeved them while they were removed and then put them back. Okay, I think you lost me a little bit. We had werewolves that were double-sided, and I put them in the smaller sleeves that were clear. So when I played them, I just unsleeved them while they were removed and then put them back. Oh, I see. So you just unsleeve, they're in slightly smaller sleeves, and then you unsleeve them and they're still sleeved. I think I'm tracking here. But I like Lewis's idea of like having the proxies off to the side and then bringing those in. Uh, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Um, Let me know what you think about shifting attacks. This is, to me, one of the coolest parts of Attack on Titan is how they're bringing this transforming essence that's very, very important to the show into the card game. All of these are just on this. We have the Jaw Titan. On this, we have Jaw Titan attacks. That's how they've done every single shift one. The female Titan attacks. It does make it sound a little bit wacky when you say Attack Titan attacks. If you say that 10 times fast, you're going to sound like Aaron talking to himself in the mirror. Atatakai, atatakai, you know, is kind of what that have if you just keep repeating that, which is thematic. Yeah, this is shift attacks. I'm really here for shift attacks. I love this mechanic personally, and I am excited to see what happens with 4-check attacks with these super high difficulty amounts. I remain yet to be sold on these two backups. But maybe it happens as we see the characters. Never say never. This set is like the Wild West. It's all new things to us. It's going to be fun kind of cracking the code here. But shift attacks to me, really, really neat. I'm hoping this is kind of a big part of the game. We've already seen a couple characters that do things with wall counters between Hans and Krista. And so maybe a lot of characters are going to be working with backups similar to that. Like the order symbol is like your wall counter symbol, maybe. And some other symbol is, well, I guess they put these on infinity for everybody. So everyone has Adam. But we'll see how much this changes up the game. I, for one, am excited that we're getting another massive, just silly difficulty level attack with Colossus Titan. I'm going to find ways to slam this into my deck. All right, guys, that is it for me. If you came and joined me and watched through this, just know that I appreciate you. And Attack on Titan, out in August. Sounds like we got characters coming on Friday.